Hi everyone, this is LaDonna Briggs from Sweet Potato Pie Nursery, and I have added a little more red and yellow into my paint. So it's starting to look more like this color. I'm going to paint a little sample on. And you can see this is definitely a lot darker. And I put a lot more cornstarch, probably a half a cup of cornstarch in here. So it's definitely a little more cornstarch. And we'll see how this dries. So I'm going to see how this next coat is filling in these holes quite a little bit better. Definitely a little nicer, warmer color. It's going to take several coats. That's a little high there. I'm going to have to sand that right there. Sometimes after you get this coat on, you can kind of see where you need to sand. It doesn't, sometimes you don't see it until you do this. So anyways, I'm going to get another coat on this. This paint does drip sometimes, so it takes a couple hours to dry. So as you're coating, and I'll give everybody another coat tonight. As I do this, I'll kind of come back and make sure that I don't get drips with this, and to kind of watch. But slowly, all these little tiny cracks, you can see them in there. The crazing will be completely covered with this one-shot paint. This is wonderful oil-based paint, but yet it dries in about 2 to 4 hours. In 4 hours, it's pretty much dry, but in 2 hours, a lot of times you can go ahead and put another coat over it. Then I let it set overnight. Sometimes if I don't have all the cornstarch in, I'll have to kind of smash it out on here. So it's best to try to get it. There's a little flick of something on my paintbrush. So I'll re-look at this face and make sure I don't have any drips. And when you set them up, you know, just periodically, it might take me about an hour to get everything painted. I'll recheck and look at the face, especially the eyes and around the nose, and make sure I'm not getting any drips, because it's easier to deal with it now than later. And I'm just going to slowly paint everything. And if you notice there's places with more cracking, you can just hit those places and come back then and paint again the whole thing. But you can just kind of do extra layers in specific spots that you think look bad. It's my favorite head right here. This is the one that was painted so terrible. This one doesn't have a lot of cracks, I think because the paint they used, whoever tried to restore it probably used a similar paint, and so it's already kind of sealed. There was a fuzzball on that. I don't want to repaint that into my head. So I don't take a lot of time with this. I'm really quick because it takes forever. I have about 40 to 50 dolls I'm restoring, so I don't want to take a lot of time on this. So I've gotten pretty quick at it. The main thing is just to make sure this paint evens itself out. You just don't want there to be drips. I'm looking back at my other head and I don't see any drips. I did see there's a little drip right there. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. It's a coat. I did do a little bit of sanding on this Fair Amusement Company. This is really old. This is about a 1910 doll, I think. So you can tell that head already looks a little better right here, this forehead. And some of this I'll just fill in with this paint. We'll just fill in and smooth out. I sanded a little there. We'll see how that's definitely better, but it's gonna need probably a little bit more sanding. You'll be amazed though how these pits and cracks will disappear the more I coat this doll. All right, so I'm gonna get busy on these. See all those cracks in that? That it's gonna slowly fill those in. I haven't done this for so long and I'm just excited to, it's kind of a nice change from reborning. I'm reborning too. I'm actually working on a silicone doll right now and several vinyl kits. So that I've put these away for about 5 years and I'm thinking, okay, I've just got to make myself do these. So I'm gonna have to do the other half of this tomorrow because I can't hold, it doesn't have really a base to set on, so I won't do that whole thing tonight. You can see his creases. So let's hope tomorrow that this paint won't be as shiny. We'll see what this dries. Hopefully it will dry less shiny with all the cornstarch I put in. If not, I'll probably put another ½ cup in. It takes a lot of cornstarch to get rid of the shine, and I'm using quite a little bit of paint. So if you didn't have quite as much paint, you wouldn't need this much. Now I will use, I'm brushing this on, but later I'll use this same paint, not this color. I'll mix a brown mixture, brown and yellow, and I'm gonna make some hair, and I will use my airbrush for that. And when I do blush, I'll use my airbrush. So the only thing that of this paint, this one shot paint that I brush on is the flesh color, and that's all. The rest I do with an airbrush. So to me, you just get a nice thicker coat with a brush. So that's the way I do it, and I don't get brush strokes because it's such good paint that it evens out. And you can see that I'm losing a lot of those cracks right now with this. Much better color. I warmed it up by putting more yellow and red in it, and I think it's going to be a nice color. Hoping it's dull. All right. Thank you all for watching, and I will make more YouTubes tomorrow.